What's the vibe, tribe? Thank you for joining me yet again for another webinar for my small business owners, my solopreneurs, my entrepreneurs, whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur or an established one that's in the early growth stages. I generate content just for you. So do me a favor, make sure that if this content resonates, you like, you subscribe, and you share it. Those are 3 things that are really important to help me grow this channel so that we can build this community of like-minded solopreneurs who are just looking to grow our business. Of course, please comment with anything that resonates as well, especially questions, so that I can respond and reply to your questions. Okay, so today we're having a conversation in regards to content. That's one corner of our frameworks. Every time we come back to our Dream Small Business webinar, we talk about our framework, our offers, our leads, our content, and then our systems. And today we're gonna focus on the bottom right corner of our framework, which is content. And I wanna give you 2 of my frameworks that's gonna help you clarify your niche and get unstuck from posting content. If you are an entrepreneur, you know that you need to post content, right? And if you're not posting content consistently, I wanna help you get unstuck and to ensure that you never get stuck again, because you have these 2 amazing frameworks, the PSI framework, in addition to the NIE framework. Of course, we're gonna get into those with depth, but before we do that, I also want to say thank you for joining me on StreamYard. For those of you who have, you've registered for StreamYard, you're on this platform. That means you get to ask questions and I get to make comments right on the spot as we're broadcasting this live. And for any of my solopreneurs and entrepreneurs who are ready to host a webinar for themselves, I got a $10 discount for you down below in the description box. If you utilize my affiliate code, you can utilize StreamYard, which is a very user-friendly platform and really easy to broadcast live onto your other platforms as well, especially as we talk about content today, right? And so let's get into it. I talked about these frameworks helping to clarify your niche, which is really important as a content creator. You need to choose a thing that you are going to talk about on your channel, okay? So we're gonna use the PSI framework to help us identify what you're gonna talk about if you don't already know. One thing that I run into a lot with my clients or just in conversations with other solopreneurs is that we have so many passions, especially in aspiring entrepreneurs as well. It's like you don't even get started on your business because you don't know where you're going to start yet, much less to start your content, right? Well, regardless of if you're trying to start a business or you're trying to generate some content for your business, content is absolutely essential to your business. Content is going to help you level up your personal brand. It's going to help you establish space with omnipresence, and it's going to help build your audience, which community, right? Community starts as just watchers of your content, and then content watchers, your content watchers, are the same people that turns into buyers of your stuff. So of your products and your services, they're more likely to purchase from you because you're giving them free value through your content. You're already making a strong delivery by letting people see you and to understand what it is exactly that you do, how you can help them, and why they should buy from you. So the very first framework is the PSI framework. Let's start with the P. Remember that I said that this framework is going to help you to identify your niche, because we typically, as human beings, have a lot of passions, okay? So let's take a list of a few passions here, okay? So maybe someone has a passion for baking, maybe another for fitness, maybe another for art, maybe you have a passion for teaching, and maybe you're really passionate about martial arts. All right, these are just examples, obviously. So next, we're gonna talk about, I'm gonna change up the color just a little bit. Next is the S, right? We got our P for passions, and then we have our skills. So maybe we have skills in design. Maybe my passionate fitness person has a skill set in sales. Great combination, by the way. Maybe the artist has skills in mechanics, just saying, that can happen. Teaching, skills in communication, also a great combo. And then my person with their passion in martial arts has skills in plumbing. Right? This happens all the time, right? So a lot of these skills tend to come from our area of work in our industry, where we spend a lot of our time in profession as an employee, right? So we build a lot of these skill sets from when we're an employee or when we're in school and when we're learning something, right? So design, sales, mechanics, communication, and plumbing are a particular set of skills that other people who do not have these set of skills can absolutely utilize your knowledge about, right? So, or to utilize your skills to actually enhance their business or their life and their personal endeavors. So finally, our I. Then we want to consider all of our interests. Okay, and let me just put this up here as a reminder. This is how we clarify our niche, right? So let's say we're interested in possibly learning coding or cooking. Politics, community building. Sorry, tiny whiteboard, so the letters are getting tinier and tinier as well. Okay, coding, cooking, politics, community building, and our martial arts passionate but plumbing skilled individual has an interest in dog training. Just put dog right here. And this is really how it happens, right? Like we have a set of passions, a set of skill sets, and then a set of interests as well. So it's like, oh man, there's so many things I want to do. There's so many things I can do, but you don't know where to start. And that's because you need to choose one of these things. And I'm going to show you the easiest way to choose one of these things, because the baker can have design skills and coding, but can only focus on one of these things at a time when it comes to content. So let's just say individual number one is either going to create content around baking, design, or coding, right? So here is the easiest way to consistently create content. The easiest way to consistently create content is to actually take an activity that you're already doing on a regular basis and then just record it and turn it into content. So that means I might have a passion in baking, but I don't bake as much as I code, right? Or learn about coding. Or I don't spend enough time doing research in coding since it's my interest, but I do a ton of design. And even though I'm not passionate about designing, because I have a set of skill sets that I use already regularly, like maybe I work full-time in design, so there's 40 hours worth of design. That means you have 40 hours worth of content technically. So you might not be passionate about design. However, you might be able to help someone solve a problem about design. And that doesn't mean that you need to showcase exactly how to design unless that's something that you're interested in doing as content. But even just talking about it, talking about some of the rewards about designing, some of the woes about designing, how to become a designer, some of the steps that you want to take in order to be a successful designer, some of the steps that you need to take in order not to burn out and be a successful designer. Like there's so many things that you can talk about still as content simply because you already do this thing on a regular basis, right? So I want you to do the same thing for yourself. I want you to write down a list, 5 passions. If you don't make it to 5, that's okay. In fact, the lesser the better, because the reason why we don't start is because we have all of these ideas to begin with. So if you have no more than 5, okay, so up to 5 of your passions, up to 5 of your skill sets, and then up to 5 of your interest, okay, things that you're interested in. And I don't care what kind of thing it is. It could be something super weird, like the types of bananas around the world that you're interested in. Doesn't matter. Write down the things that literally give you a fire in your belly when you think about them, or a skill set, for example. You can literally write down and copy the things off of your resume that you know about, that you are an expert or skilled in, and then your area of interest. Even if you don't know how to do the thing yet, like cooking, you might not know how to cook yet, you just haven't interested in it. That's okay too. I still want you to write it down, because the thing is that even though you might not be doing this thing, like you might not be cooking yet, or you might not consider yourself a chef or a good cook, but maybe you watch and consume a ton of content on cooking already, okay? That can bode well for just doing a channel review, just talking about the recipes that you learned, talking about what you want to try next and why, talking about the health benefits of it, or maybe not. Like, it's up to you. It depends on the underlying interest of your interest, but nonetheless, you can still create content on this topic even if you're not actually doing the thing. But the fact that you're consuming content, consuming being the action, means that you can spend time probably talking about what you just learned, or spend time talking about why you're so interested in this topic, like what in particular, and that is your content in itself. So you don't actually need to do the thing in order to create content. So that's the beauty of it. What you want to do after you finish creating your list of your passions, your interests, and your skills, you want to choose the ones that you do on a regular basis anyway. Regular basis being daily, bi-daily, weekly. That's it. I mean, I wouldn't go beyond a week. I'm not going to say bi-weekly or monthly unless you already know your niche. Like, this is it. This is the thing, and this thing happens on a monthly basis. That could be fine. Okay, that could be fine. But it is easier to create bulk content, right? And just have things ready and prepared when you already do them on a regular basis. You brush your teeth every single day, so that means every day you have content, because you can either record yourself doing the thing and get really creative about it, or maybe there's something that you're interested in that particular thing and you can talk about it, right? Or maybe you learned a really unique way to brush your teeth, so you can talk more about that and do demonstrations, right? I'm just giving an example here, but I just want you to know that creating content is not supposed to be super hard. What it's supposed to do is add value to your audience. And we want to be able to do that without burning ourselves out. And the worst thing ever is making excuses that stops us from doing the thing. And so whatever it is that you already do is the most simple decision to make for content, because you're already doing it. Like for me, as a fitness instructor, I work out not every day, but almost. I work out anywhere between 4 to 6 days a week. So I'm constantly creating content just based off of the workouts, and then I get to get creative about how I want to deliver it. So fitness is one of my passions. However, content creating necessarily is not, but it is my interest. And so I was able to combine the two together and really think about the value that I was going to create for my audience, and that I was able to deliver on a consistent basis because I already do the thing. So you want to choose one of the areas of passion, skills, and interests. You want to choose one in total that you can completely focus on in creating content and getting better at that. If you end up changing it down the road, that's different, but you're only going to learn what path you should actually go down by actually executing, okay? And we're going to talk more about execution in the next framework, which is coming up now. So as I clean off the board, y'all do me a favor. If you are already finding value in this conversation, I want you to hit the like button. I want you to hit the subscribe button so that you know when I drop more content like this next. And or leave a comment down below about the gems you're picking up from this conversation. or any questions that you might have that you would like me to cover in my next video. So we just went over the PSI framework. Now we're going to talk about the NIE framework. So N stands for niche, which we just clarified, right? We know that we need to choose a topic to actually talk about. So let's say for me, it's fitness. Next is I, and I stands for intention. All of your content needs intention. And to figure out what your intention is, you're going to use the formula XYZ. X being who you are and what you do. Who you help. And how you help. Who you are and what you do, who do you help, and how you help them. You want to set that intention for your content. So with fitness as our example, I'm your coach Shay. I'm a transformation coach, and I help women over 30 regain confidence from the inside out through physical and mental fitness. See, you were able to identify who I am, what it is that I do, who it is that I'm helping, how I help them, right? And through what vehicles, right? So who I am, I'm Coach Shay. What I do, I'm a transformation coach. Who do I help? Women over 30 regain their confidence. How do I help them to do that? Through both mental and physical exercise, okay? Then what you want to identify is the how. And the how I gave you in my statement, right? I said through physical and mental fitness, but for the topic of conversation for content, our how is actually determined by the method of delivery, how we're delivering our content. And there's quite a few ways to do that. I'm going to give a few examples here. Like one would be education, your content style, or maybe entertainment, or maybe you do how-to videos or do-it-yourself videos. So your how is your delivery method in which you deliver the result, okay? So maybe your content is educational. Now, in terms of fitness, I can choose to actually speak to my audience just like I'm doing right here on camera about fitness itself. Why is it so important? What are some things that you should look out for? What you should look out for when you go grocery shopping? What are some of the easiest exercises when it comes to strength training? I can speak about those things and educate my audience through just talking to the camera or through podcast style, or I could do a form of entertainment, right? So maybe I make funny reels and memes about things that happen in the gym, right? But still insinuating that I am in the gym, or I'm encouraging to go to the gym, because honestly, only gym people can thoroughly understand that kind of content anyway, about why certain things are so funny. But maybe I want to capture people's attention and I want to create viral videos. If that's my intention and entertainment is the value that I'm delivering to my audience, that is going to be my delivery method, okay? Or how to, and then do it yourself. So maybe I actually demonstrate some of the exercises and show people how to do it themselves at home or do it themselves inside of the gym. So we have our niche clarified. Then we set an intention by asking, who do we help? How do we help them? And through which method and delivery are you going to deliver that message? You do need to choose these things prior to actually creating your content, okay? Now, this can change over time, not your niche so much, but your intention around how you deliver one of these things. But you want to choose your niche and you do want to stick with it. I'm going to go ahead and erase this because my tiny whiteboard can't even hold our third line, which is what our E stands for. So up next, we got E. And E stands for execution. Execution is literally the biggest challenge that we face, is actually not choosing the niche, because there's so many to choose from. Like, you could literally choose any one of them and do them. But it's really about the execution. That means that you record this content, you choose a style and platform in which you're going to deliver it, style being like reels, carousels, long form, shorts, etc., lives, whichever. Okay, and then pressing the button publish or post. This is your execution. You have to record the content or upload the content, however you're choosing, right? I'm saying record because I'm thinking about YouTube, but it really depends on the way that you're delivering your content. Like, maybe you're blogging. If you're blogging for Tumblr or LinkedIn, then necessarily you don't need to record content, but you might need to write the content, right? You might need to upload a document, right? So you want to actually be able to record, upload, document your content. Then you want to be able to choose the style or platform. So I am on YouTube and I speak a lot about creating content on YouTube, but maybe, just maybe, your content will fit best for TikTok or for LinkedIn or for Instagram and Facebook. You need to do that research and decide on where your audience lives, because that's actually where you should deliver most of your content. I think YouTube is a great space to start, and YouTube kind of is synonymous with all of the other platforms. So like, if you're using one, then you would still use that content on YouTube too. That's just my rule. But for the most part, you want to go where your audience is. So there's many people who might not post content as frequently on YouTube, but their content really hits on TikTok, right? Especially like hairstylists or estheticians. Like, a lot of that content works really well for TikTok. Not saying that it can't for YouTube, but you want to go where your audience is, right? So you need to choose your platform and then your style of delivery. Are you going to create 2-minute reels? Are you going to create 60-second shorts? Or are you going to do more of a long form video for YouTube, right? You have to decide on what you can do, okay? Not even what you're going to do, because it doesn't mean like this is the format that you follow every single time, but it does mean that you're able to do one of them. Like, you have the capabilities of posting a reel, you have the capability of posting a short. So you want to choose the style and the platform, and then you actually want to publish or post it. So many entrepreneurs stop at the process of recording or documenting and then don't do anything else. And the thing is, you got to finish that. So it all needs to happen seamlessly in order for you to do it. Like, you want to record your content in a fashion that's not going to take a lot of your time afterwards to edit it, right? And if you don't have time to edit, believe me, you still want to post the content anyway. But let's just say that if you create a 30-minute piece and then you have to go back and edit it, or not have to, but you choose to, you may not move forward with actually publishing and posting it, because editing a 30-minute piece of content can easily take 2 to 3 hours of consumption, and then you're burned out. And you may not even be done yet. And then tomorrow comes and you don't have time tomorrow to do it. It's like, you want to make this process as easy and seamless for yourself as possible, because it's literally only these 2 steps that you need to take, which is deciding and clarifying on your niche, and then publishing and posting it. That's it. Now that we have both of our frameworks, our PSI framework and then our NIE framework, we've decided on what our niche is. We understand the concept that we need to have intention behind our content and why we're posting it. And then we actually need to execute the post. We're going to have this really important conversation. All right, so there you have it. You have the two frameworks that you need to start with in order to get unstuck and actually start to produce some content. Now, is one of the reasons that you're stuck not posting content because you get really anxious? For whatever the reason, this part of the conversation is really important, because if this is a barrier for you, it absolutely has to be eliminated right now in order for you to move forward. If you're a small business owner, your content is so important. It helps you to build community, and it helps you to build your personal brand, and ultimately the content that people watch turn into your customers. And so it's really important that if you're able to speak and sell in person, that you're also able to speak and sell online. And this doesn't mean that you have to be salesy in your content, and it also doesn't mean that you need to have perfect content either. It just means that the same level of value that you're willing to exchange with a person, may it be virtually, in real life, or through your content, that you feel confident in doing so simply because you know that they're going to have an amazing payoff or transformation because of the value that you're exchanging with them. Now, I'm going to give you the simplest way to get out of your own way if one of the reasons you're stuck with not posting content is because you get super anxious. One of the reasons that we get anxious is because we are focused on ourselves. You see, when it comes to content, I want you to literally consider the fact that you are delivering something that someone needs, a problem, a solution, and you're doing that through some level of communication. And so people who are watching your content is either watching or listening for the value that you're going to provide. They actually didn't come here for you. They came here to see what it is that you have and to potentially implement it into their own lives, because at the end of the day, we only care about ourselves, or I should say that we care about ourselves majorly before anybody else. So if you're an individual who gets anxious or nervous about the way that you'll look and sound on camera, or if you're worried about what others might think of you in your content, or if you're worried about not getting any views, like for some reason that may mean that you failed, right? And if you could avoid failing, you're going to do everything to not post content so that you do not have to deal with that part of the process. But I want to assure you that if you are concerned about the way that you look and sound on video, you have just confirmed that you've made this about yourself. Remember, people are coming to watch or listen to your content for the value that you're providing through the communication or through the demonstration. If you are worried about what others think about you or your content, once again, you are worried about yourself and you are not concerning yourself with the value, the payoff, the transformation to which someone is consuming your content. And just to dispel this myth, no views does not equal failure. Each time you post a piece of content, it gives you feedback. Like, you're able to go into your studio and actually review your analytics to understand why content doesn't hit. Like, if you have no views, that means no one actually tapped into your content simply because it didn't make your platform's algorithm. It's not because of your thumbnail and the way you look or the way that you sound. It's simply because you didn't touch the algorithm yet. And so you didn't even pop up on anyone's timeline. And that still bodes well for feedback that there is something that you need to pivot or adjust, like your thumbnail, your title, or something else, so that you're able to actually get some views on this content, which could provide you further feedback. Anytime that you catch yourself getting anxious because you are focused on yourself, the amount of work it is going to do, or what you need to wear, where you're able to post this content, or the time constraints that you have, you're focused on everything other than delivering the value. If you just focused on being able to publish your content, you would publish the content, because that's where you're placing your focus and attention. So for me, even when I'm recording long form content like I am today, I may be able to get through my long form content today, and then I can go ahead and already plan another 30 minutes for editing, or I can plan to do editing tomorrow. But nonetheless, I'm able to see and prepare for the next step simply because I've gotten this part of the process done. And then finally, When you're able to publish and post, once again, that's going to give you feedback about something about your content, whether you're posting at the right time, whether your thumbnail needs adjusting or your title, like I said earlier, or maybe your content actually hits, not meaning that it goes viral, even though that's a possibility too, but maybe it actually resonates and you get one comment that says thank you, or you get one thumbs up, or you get one view, right? When you post multiple pieces of content, you get to compare how well one piece does compared to the other pieces and to find patterns. And then you put all of those patterns together and that becomes your framework for your content. So it's really important that whenever this imposter syndrome comes up, right? Because this is your passion. These are your skill sets. This is your interest. There's no one that can do this better than you in your style, the way that you are. So whenever this imposter syndrome comes up that says you're not going to look great, or you need a particular setting, or people may comment or not comment, and that's a bad thing. When any of these thoughts start to arise, it's important to take a deep breath and let those thoughts go with your exhale, like literally. And sometimes you might need to do that multiple times before you can actually get a clear and calm mind so that you can take the next step. Once we stop here and we're just going with conversations with ourselves inside of our mind, that's taken away from us being present in the actual action. We want to slow down our thoughts and implement the next step to execution so that we can actually complete it. So you got to remind yourself, like, oh man, I'm thinking about me again. I'm too worried about what people are going to think about me. And this is not what this is about. I know that this type of content is going to be valuable to so many that it's so important for me to get it out, and for me to get it out today, or for me to prepare it so that I could get it out tomorrow. Whatever you plan to record and publish your content, you want to actually do that. And if you have any type of imposter syndrome thoughts come up, you want to eliminate them by making sure that you think about your audience, your customer, and your community. And that will stop all of the imposter syndrome, because you know that people only care about what you're delivering, not because people really care about what payoff or transformation you're giving them more than anything else. And with that, I wish you grand luck in choosing one day that you can consistently post a piece of content, either short form or long form. For me, it's Saturdays. I do these webinars 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I do them live so that I can actually have other people in the room with me, or if it's pre-recorded, I ask for people to subscribe, like, or leave comments about what they want to hear next, or questions that they might have, so that I can answer them, so that I can actually engage with this community. But then also on the back end, that holds me accountable, because whatever I get from this content as a result is going to ultimately be my feedback. And so I get to keep going and delivering value simply because I'm doing the work and not letting anything stop me. I promise that this can work for you too. If you would like to work together further, make sure you hit the description box and see the links down below so that we can work one-on-one to get you to posting ASAP. Now, for those of you who need additional help, such as an accountability coach to ensure that this gets done, I have a 4-day challenge to help you create 4 pieces of content that you can reuse throughout the rest of this month to launch your content and start to build your community and personal brand. All you need to do is hit the link down below in the description box in order to participate in the challenge and to get your content moving, going, and growing. Until next time, I'll see you next Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our next Dream Small Business webinar. Peace.